Hello, everyone. My name is Andy Bragg, and I am a technical sales representative for SKC. I want to welcome all of you to this next segment of SKC's WebIH webinar learning series. We truly appreciate all your interest and your support during this challenging time. I know that your time is extremely valuable, so again, thank you very much for logging in and for joining us. At the end of the presentation, I'll be sure to allow about 10 minutes for questioning and answers. So please send your questions using the chat feature in the software. We'll try to answer all the questions. If we don't get to your question, we'll be sure to answer all of them and send them out in a follow-up email. So please feel free to send us your questions. As a manufacturer of sampling pumps and media, noise measurement is a true fit with the industrial hygiene market that SKC has always identified with for 60 years or more. Many of the same customers that purchase sampling pumps are also in need of noise monitoring equipment. And as many of you already know, we have been supporting those customers by being a leader in the representation of noise and sound measurement equipment for many years. So SKC decided to use our vast experience and expertise to develop and support our own line of noise dosimeters made the way our customers have requested and supported in the tradition of SKC. With our current sales and technical staff, we have over 200 years of combined experience in the noise measurement arena. So with all that being said, I, on behalf of SKC, am very proud to introduce to you the new NoiseCHEK Dosimeter, and this presentation appropriately titled Noise Measurement Made Simple. We are very confident that we have achieved our goal to provide you with the easiest user interface available, more information and data in the palm of your hand, and more versatility to meet your specific industrial hygiene needs for noise measurement. SKC has incorporated many great proven ideas and innovations that already exist with our own forward-thinking ideas and many from the voice of valued customers. And we have developed one of the easiest and most intuitive compliance dosimeters on the market. Some of these advanced specifications and features include voice recording that gives you the ability to record and store as part of your recorded report a voice note or tag such as a location, an employee name, a job description, or anything you wish to use to associate with the recorded event. A measurement range of 70 to 140 dB and 4 virtual dosimeters with selectable presets such as OSHA, hearing conservation, or OSHA PEL, MSHA, and ACGIH. We also give you the ability to use your own custom settings if necessary or if preferred, whether it be an experimental situation or your application or company requires you to change any of the measurement parameters. We give you the ability to make those changes. A truly automatic calibration that makes for a very simple 10-second calibration for pre and post calibrations with no need to press any buttons at all. More than 180 hours of data storage, 3, 4, or 5 dB exchange rates, A, C, and Z weighting, fast and slow response times. And included with every unit is octave band measurement capabilities, full octaves viewable on the screen, and full and 1/3 octaves viewable through the software. We're providing onboard history viewing that allows you to go back and view the summary of all measurements still stored in the instrument without the need to be connected to a PC or even a mobile app. I will show you a report later that can be generated without the need of a computer simply by using the SmartWave DB app. Last, as just mentioned, the NoiseCHEK has Bluetooth communications to communicate with our SmartWave DB app on Apple, iOS, or Android platforms through the Play Store. Now I want to cover some of the physical components and characteristics of the NoiseCHEK. First, there are 6 buttons that have simple functions. The green and red buttons on the NoiseCHEK are not just for turning the unit on and off. When designing this dosimeter, we wanted to make it as simple as possible by also using these same buttons as kind of your stop, go, run, pause, and yes, no buttons. These are truly the foundation keys that make everything simple. Just follow the instructions on the screen. The left and right, or sometimes called previous and next arrow keys, are scrolling keys that allow you to view different parameters and information in the setup, in the run, or in the history screens. The history button provides you access to all sampling history on your device that's referenced earlier. By pressing this key, it opens your history files for easy selecting and viewing. This is very unique to the NoiseCHEK dosimeter, so I'll dig into that a little bit more in just a moment. Another unique feature is the V or the voice key. And I mentioned this earlier as well. This is to record voice notes to associate and assign to your sample. The windscreen has an identifier that shows how to line up and lock it into place on the plastic clear ring. This ring also allows the user to see flashing LEDs that identify the status of the dosimeter from a distance. Two aggressive clothing clips assure a secure holding during the monitoring period. And of course, the largest backlit display on a cable-free dosimeter. This unique display is a 1.8-inch front-lit display. It is designed for dark areas or for use in very bright light conditions such as direct sunlight, where a color screen may be somewhat limited. As you can see, there are many lines of important data that can be seen on the display at one time. 11 of the 12 lines of information can be customized to fit the user's need for important measurement data. This allows for instant viewing of all pertinent information without having to scroll through multiple screens. These are selectable in DataTrack DB software to allow you to view all of the compliance information like I have shown here on the screen, or you can limit the viewing to only a couple of lines if you wish to make it very simple for whoever the user is. However, regardless of what you have on the display, all the parameters will be calculated and stored by the unit and viewable through the history or by way of the app or PC software. Other items to note on the screen are the battery indicator, the run status, where we provide universal symbols for run, pause, or stop, the parameter view, which allows you to view the setup parameters for all 4 of the internal virtual dosimeters, the octave band views, and then lastly, as has been touched on already a couple of times, though not actually part of the display, the clear collar that you see around the base of the windscreen will provide additional status for remote viewing. Green flashing LEDs indicate the device running status, either running, paused, or stopped. A flashing blue LED indicates that the Bluetooth is connected to a mobile device. A flashing white LED is used to let you know when you are recording a voice note and when it has been successfully stored. And LED color will also indicate exceedance of preset limits in an amber color. And the charging status is also indicated on this collar when the unit is docked and in the charging process. For the NoiseCHEK dosimeter, we chose to use a lithium polymer battery that will supply us with 40+ hours of runtime with all features activated. You'll be able to fully charge a discharged battery within 4 to 6 hours. You can order a single NoiseCHEK with a single charger or a 5-pack kit with a 5-unit charger configuration. This dock will also allow you to communicate between the dosimeter and our DataTrack DB software that I'll talk about a little later. As you can see in the photo, while the dosimeter is charging, it shows a large battery indicator on the screen, and a flashing amber light indicates that the unit is not fully charged. That amber colored LED will change to green when the dosimeter is fully charged. Now we'll look at the basic operation of the device, from turning it on to performing a calibration and viewing the different parameters on the display and turning it off as well. To turn the unit on, press the green check mark. It is simply a click with no need to hold it in. You will see the backlight come on, and it will display the SKC NoiseCHEK label. You are now in what we refer to as the startup screen. To turn the device off, which can only be done if the unit is not in the run mode, you would press and hold the red X key until a confirmation screen note appears. Select Yes, the green button, to accept. For the sake of this presentation, we're going to continue without turning the unit off. While the unit is on, but not in the run mode, if you press either the right or left arrow keys, you can view the different setup parameters. For example, you can see here that this user actually has the OEHS hearing conservation set up for their internal dosimeter number 1. So you can see the exchange rate, the threshold, the criterion level, the response, and the frequency weighting. If you continue to push the left or right arrows, you would advance through the different virtual dosimeters and see how those were set up as well. But you would always be able to see those labels to be sure what it was that you were going to be reading on the screen. Now that the unit is turned on and we have stepped through some of the basic operation before taking a measurement, the next thing we need to do is calibrate the unit. From any screen, including the screen that you see upon startup, as long as the device is not running, you can do a field calibration using the SKC AcoustiCHEK calibrator shown below on the screen. Remove the windscreen by turning it counterclockwise until the black arrow points to the unlock padlock symbol on the collar. Be sure that the AcoustiCHEK calibrator is set to 114 dB. Slide the calibrator onto the microphone, and the NoiseCHEK will immediately recognize the presence of the calibrator. In the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you can see what it will look like to have the calibrator mounted on the dosimeter. Note that there are no adapters needed. It simply slides directly onto the microphone. A 5-second countdown will start, allowing time for the user to abort the calibration if they choose to. If the calibrator is not removed, the calibration will begin automatically after that 5-second countdown. The screen will now show calibration in progress. After about 3 to 5 seconds, the calibration will be complete. When the calibration passes, the screen will show past, a before, and an after reading, as well as an adjusted value. And I want to go through these a little bit. The before value is the dosimeter reading before the calibration adjustment was made. This is important information because it serves as the post-calibration for previous runs using this dosimeter. So it basically closes your documentation loop for the previous run or runs since you last did a calibration. The adjusted amount is simply shown for documentation and training purposes. The after value is the dosimeter reading after the calibration adjustment. This will serve as the calibration for your next measurement or your next measurements and runs. From the pass screen, you would simply remove the calibrator and turn it off. Select the green OK key to exit the calibration. Now, if the calibration were to fail, repeat the calibration. If you have repeated failures, usually that's an indication that there's a potential problem with your microphone and that service may be required. Replace the windscreen with the black arrow on the collar pointed to the unlock padlock symbol, and then turn the windscreen clockwise until it clicks into place and is now pointed to the locked padlock symbol on the device. Now that the calibration has been performed successfully, we're ready to begin our noise monitoring. To begin a run, just press and hold the green button until the confirmation screen appears. At this point, if you press the red button, you will cancel the run and return to the main screen. If you press the green button, the run will start. The selected data will now be shown, and you will now see the universal symbol for play or record shown in the upper right-hand corner, and that's the small triangle next to the padlock. And the LED at this point would now start flashing green. From this screen, you can use the left and right arrows to cycle through the different screens for the virtual dosimeters, which include the octave band screens as well, if you have them activated. If you look at the top of the display, just below the running clock, you will see the label NoiseCHEK number 1. This is simply telling you that this is the first internal virtual dosimeter. And remember, you can set up as many as 4 of these in the NoiseCHEK. You can also change this label if you would like it to say something else. Now, just below that, underneath the black line, you can see the OSHA Hearing Conservation, or OEHS displayed. This is just letting you know that this number 1 dosimeter is set to the OSHA Hearing Conservation standard. When you use the left and right arrows, these labels will change, as I mentioned earlier, so that you can see how each dosimeter is set without worrying what it is that you're actually looking at. So you'll always be able to see those titles and the parameters in the viewing. An octave band screen can be set up to show for all 4 virtual dosimeters as well. These screens will show data based on your setups. This means that A-weighted data will be shown on your octave band readings. So for a more realistic study with octave bands specifically, you may want to set up one of the parameters using a Z weighting so that your data curve lets the octave band do your filtering. This screen must be enabled through the DataTrack DB software. From the factory, this option will be shut off, as many people may not need octave band measurements in a dosimeter. It's important to note that only the full octave band will be shown on the display. However, the dosimeter will record full octave and 1/3 octave data for reviewing in the DataTrack DB software. The octave band measurement is still relatively new to noise dosimetry, as most of you probably know. However, in the recent past, people have been starting to use this for hearing protection selection, possible engineering controls, and to help identify problem noise sources that were seen during the noise measurement process. Users that would like to pause a sample, for example, if you have an employee's lunch period where you have the subject leave the property and you would like to pause the dosimeter and then resume the sample when that subject returns, with the NoiseCHEK, you simply press and hold the green selection button during a run. A confirmation screen will appear saying pause now. Select yes and the unit will enter the pause screen. The flashing LEDs will flash twice quickly, indicating that it is now paused, and you will see the small parallel lines appear in the upper right-hand corner that indicate pause instead of the triangle showing that it will be running. Press and hold the green button again to select yes to resume the sample. Now, when you have a completed run, the data will be compiled in one sampling session, but you will be able to see the time that it was paused due to the time history log in the data. To stop a run and store that sample in history, press and hold the red selection button until you see the confirmation screen. Press the green button when Stop Now is in the display. After the sample has stopped, you will immediately be defaulted to the device history, where you will see the complete summary of the last run. If you want to review the data from this session, simply use the right arrow to scroll through the data. Keep in mind that you will be able to see all the summary data for all internal dosimeters that you have set up in the unit, not just one screen of summary. When you're done viewing this information, pressing the H button, or the H key, will exit the history screen and return to the startup screen. Well, congratulations. For all practical purposes, you have now completed the full basic operation and calibration of the new NoiseCHEK noise dosimeter. I hope that you see how easy and intuitive we have designed it to be. Now I'd like to move on to some of the additional functions and features built into the NoiseCHEK. A lot of thought and discussion went into providing history information in the palm of your hand. We felt it was important, and based on customer feedback, that you not be required to have a second device, be it a mobile device or PC, in order to view your history. Even though you can view the information in either one of these, whether it be a mobile device or your computer, we now allow you to view the information on the dosimeter as well. To use the history function from the main screen, as long as the unit is not running, you would simply press the H button or history button that is to the upper left of the display. A screen with history at the top will show all of the history stored on the device. You can select specific history files by scrolling with the left and right arrow buttons to move the cursor up and down. If you press the green button while any of those are selected, you will see the information. At this point, you will see the sample summary on the display, as well as the date, the time, and the period of the run. Remember, when viewing the history information, you can use the left and right arrow buttons to view all sampling values for all virtual dosimeters that were set up in the dosimeter at the time of the run. It is not just one summary again, it is the individual summary for each dosimeter. When you're done viewing the history, simply press the H button again to exit that screen. Anytime after calibration, before you start the run, if you wish to make a voice note, you just press and hold the V button or voice record button to record a new note. A white LED will flash indicating a new note is being recorded. When you have completed your message, press the V button again to stop the recording. This message will be saved to the data logging and retrievable from your report. The white LED will now flash at a slower pace just to let you know that there was a message stored. Another voice of the customer issue was easy setup software. You always hear that it's very complicated to get in and change the meter or change the parameters. So we wanted to make this something that was very easy and very intuitive. So we have made it as simple as we think is possible. When you open the software and select the device you want to download and or set up, the DataTrack DB software comes to that setup tab. Now you can just select the boxes and parameters that you want to click on, the green tab below the device. So the upper left-hand corner, the green tab will change and let you know that you're ready to save this to the device. Now I'm going to back up a little and walk you through a little more information, but I just wanted to show you quickly that comes straight to that screen so that you can set up the parameters and the device the way you want to and send it to the unit. You do need to use your docking station to communicate with the PC software. Once you have your device docked and the dock is connected to the computer using the USB cable provided, you would just open the software and click in the area in the upper left corner underneath connected devices, where right now you see it says Andy's demo 2112, and that box will be highlighted in gray. Keep in mind, you can change the dosimeter name to anything you want. That just happens to be what my demo unit is named. There are now 3 tabs in the software: Setup, Schedule, and History. The screen you see here, as I mentioned earlier, is Setup. This screen is where you can set up what you want to see on the device and how you want the device to measure. You can select up to 9 readings to show on the device. We will probably be choosing a standard setup for the units when they leave SKC. If you notice the boxes that are already checked, these will most likely be the way it is sent out. And so you see the SPL or sound pressure level is checked, TWA, dose, L average, peak, L max, projected TWA, projected dose, and then upper limit. And those will all show on the device during a run. Just to the right of those boxes, you will see a separate portion for the history. So in our history on a default unit that goes out, it'll be set for TWA, dose, L average, peak, L max, projected dose, and upper limit. If you want to change any of these, you can simply go into the software and choose your choices and click Save Setup to the device. We will most likely be using 60-second sample rate in OSHA hearing conservation, OSHA PEL, and ACGIH as the default internal dosimeters. We'll most likely leave the fourth one turned off for later customization or selection by the customer. And as I also mentioned earlier, the octave band will be turned off in order to keep the unit as simple as possible. We thought it would be better to leave that to be turned on later by the customer as opposed to giving information that people might not necessarily want to see. When you select the Schedule tab, this is where you can program the unit to start and stop automatically based on specific date and time. This is a great feature, especially if you have multiple units that need to be deployed and started at the same time on users throughout a facility. So now you can set them all to start at a given time and shut off at a given time. Now this is the download screen. The top half shows the files that are in history, and the bottom is the selected time history chart. You can also get a complete file exported by clicking on the Export All Log Data. Now, this is an area that has received a lot of attention as well. In today's world, everybody wants to have an app that gives easy access to information remotely in a manner that doesn't interrupt the sampling process. We're very proud of the capabilities of the SmartWave DV app. Here you can see some of the images. It is a free mobile app available from the App Store or Play Store for Apple and Android devices. It basically mimics everything you see on the display of the device when it is connected. For security purposes, the first time you connect a device, you will need to know the PIN that was set up in the PC app. After that, the app will know that you have been connected and will not ask for the password unless you program it to do so. As you can see, you can start a run, you can then pause that run or stop the run from the mobile app. You can also view all information during the run for all dosimeters that are activated. You can see at the bottom of the screen that this user is using the OSHA hearing conservation, OSHA PEL, and ACGIH templates for dosimeter 1, 2, and 3. As with the operation of the NoiseCHEK, the SmartWave DV app also provides confirmation screens for most functions so that you don't accidentally stop a run that you didn't intend to. Now here is a sample report that was generated from the app using a history file pulled from the NoiseCHEK. This report is displayed on the mobile device. So why is that important? Well, this now means that you do not have to have access to a PC or a PC app to be able to generate a compliance style report. It can be emailed or texted from your mobile device for the last run or any run still stored in the device for that matter. So whether you're out in the field or on a project and you need to send this information to yourself or to someone else, you can do it from your mobile device without having to go back and download information to a computer. Now, our marketing department had a really great idea. That they decided that we needed to develop some short or quick videos that we could post for our customers to access. As it turns out, I think that these will serve several purposes. Not only will they be good for training or for a quick demonstration on specific features, but I think they will also serve as an emergency refresher if you are out in the field and need an update. So if you go into your web browser and enter SKC Inc. 1 or SKC INC and the number 1, you should see the SKC1-YouTube option pop up. If you click on that option, you will see many great training videos from SKC, not just on the noise products, but on all of our products. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of that screen, however, you will see the SKC Noise Instruments section. If you click on View Full Playlist, you will see videos for calibration, run, and review. And as you can see, these are all very short. The first one is 2 minutes and 27 seconds. You'll see videos for setting up and programming the virtual dosimeters, setting up scheduled run, LED demo so that you know what all the different color flashing lights represent, screen and menu navigation, SmartWave DB mobile app presentation, and then ideal placement in case you're not sure about exactly where the dosimeter should be placed on the person. So again, I think this is a great idea, and it gives you the ability to get information that you need very quickly, especially if you're in a rush or forgot about a situation and you just need some additional information. Now, before I jump into the Q&A segment, I did want to discuss the shipment schedule. For those of you that may be in attendance to this presentation that are with certain sectors of the government, we should be able to meet your deadlines. We are awaiting some additional parts that will arrive at the end of this month or possibly the beginning of August. And once they pass through our QC department, it is possible that we would have units shipping by the middle or end of August. But to be conservative, we're going to say the first week in September. So my recommendation is please stay in touch with your technical sales representative for your region, and we will keep you up to date. You can certainly send emails, and we'll make sure and follow up with emails as soon as we have updates on those shipments. So at this point, let's go ahead and get started with the Q&A section of the presentation. I have on the screen that it's Denny Collins, but I believe it's actually going to be Chuck Nutgreiner, who is our VP, if he is on here. So are you on there, Chuck? So maybe it is going to be Denny.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Andy. Andy, once again, a great presentation on a new piece of equipment that we take a lot of pride in. We've worked very, very, very hard to make sure that we're delivering the best possible instrument we can to the field on this one, and we really concentrated on making it as intuitive and simple as possible, yet to give you the ability to get as much information as you can from it that you absolutely have to have. But Andy, that was a great presentation. I also just had one comment. I found out yesterday when I was on vacation that it was Andy's birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Andy.
Thank you.
And we do have some questions. So the first question I would like to forward to Andy. Andy, the first question is, Class 1 or Class 2?
Class 2. You know, certainly with regards to sound level meters that we're looking at as well, we see a lot of Class 1 applications for sound level meters. Dosimeters are a little bit different. Certainly, if we see a need for those, that's something we could discuss. But in the past, we just haven't seen a lot of applications for Class 1 dosimeters. So if you have feedback there, I would certainly like to hear it. But right now, our dosimeters are Class 2.
Okay. And Denny, are you on the line?
I am.
Okay, Denny, and one for you. The instrument, they're asking if it complies with IFC 61672-1 and IEC 61252.
Okay, so it definitely complied with IEC 61252. The 61672-1, I believe, is for a Type 1 meter. So since we were doing a Type 2, it's not going to comply to that. It does mean ANSI S1.25 as well, though. But I'll check into that 61672-1 just to make sure, though. So if we could get the name of that person, we'll send an email out and make sure we get them the correct answer.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Denny.
Yep.
Andy, back to you. They're asking if it's possible to remove the criterion because the criterion level is only used in the United States and not internationally.
You can certainly remove it from the display. As I mentioned, you can take everything off the display if you wanted to, or just have one or two things displayed. So you can certainly remove it from the display so you wouldn't see it. That's a great question. If we need to have it removed from the unit, and that is something that we can certainly ask our engineers and get back to someone on. So that's a good question. But again,
can I chime in on that one too?
Go ahead, Denny.
So if the question is, can you set it to 0 or no criterion level? Yes, you can under the custom setup for virtual dosimeters. So you can set the criterion level down to 0. So in reality, it does shut it off or get rid of it. It just doesn't use anything. If that makes any sense.
Yes. Thanks, Denny. Good answer. Intrinsic safety. Is the unit currently intrinsic safe? Denny, is the unit currently intrinsically safe? And are there plans to have an intrinsically safe unit?
So it is currently not intrinsically safe. However, from the get-go, in the design phase and everything we've talked about during the development of the product, it was designed to meet all intrinsic safety approvals. That being said, it is at UL for intrinsic safety approvals. We are at the mercy of UL, if you will. So we could get it tomorrow, next week, next month, or at the end of the year. So I would hope, we hope to have it sometime in the 4th quarter.
Yes, we have the components at UL currently, and the investigation has started. The 2 major portions of that investigation are the unit itself and then the battery. And both of those components are at UL. And we're hoping that we're going to get good results. But again, we don't know until we hear back. So last question. Andy, I'll go back to you. Is it possible to delete segments of noise for things like lunch or maybe a segment of noise that you really didn't anticipate and you want to see what your total dose would be without that particular part of noise?
That's a great question, and I kind of have a 2-part answer. Number one, as I did mention a little bit earlier, when you're talking about lunch, you can certainly pause the unit, and then when you're done with that segment, start the unit again. And that doesn't have to be lunch. That can be something else, anything really that you want to pause and then restart the unit to resume the same sampling period and omit that period of noise. Now, I know that's probably not answering the question, but I want to make sure and mention that that's the first clear part. Second answer to that is we have had many discussions about that. It was important to us to launch the unit first with a simple setup software that gave you some good reporting skills. But Deanie, correct me if I'm wrong, but at this point, even though it's something we're planning on doing, at this point, we don't have the ability to go back in and remove time segments from this initial software. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So I guess my final answer to that is stay tuned. We do plan to have that kind of potential, but we wanted to have a basic setup software that we could launch with the initial unit.
Thank you, Andy and Danny. Good answers. That wraps it up for the question segment. A couple things I wanted to mention. First of all, we anticipate this at the latest being able to ship in September. With that in mind, I would say to all those folks that that are military that are looking to utilize budget money for this endeavor, we will be able to ship and bill by October 1st. I was told that today, so I'm going to throw that out there. And the last thing is that, again, I really wanted to, we have put a lot of time and effort into this. And our magnificent R&D staff has done a great job in putting it together, coupled with suggestions from the sales department. And we've been calling on customers now to try to get the best of world. And I think we're getting very close Field testing is going to happen any day now. So we're going to have it out in the field, give it to people to use, to make suggestions back to us. So we're very excited to be able to introduce this product to the market and as a whole. So with that, I wanted to say thank you for your attention, and any questions, please get on our website. It is on our website. Or contact your local representative, or call us at 800-752-8472, or call the West Coast office. They have some very skilled people in terms of noise dosimeters out there. So with that, thank you for your time and patience. Questions, please.